This is a clock. One of my tenants left this earlier this summer when she moved out. And for me, it's a good example to illustrate a concept I like to call the power and penalty of time. Now, clearly, saving for one's financial future is a big topic these days. The rich get richer, the middle class are getting shrunken and shrunken. And so this concept of time is a really powerful one that's going to set the stage for a lot of the personal experiences I share in subsequent videos. Let me set the stage with an example here. Let's assume you're 25 and you're early in your career and you've saved up $10,000 that you're ready to invest in. Well, let's assume you put it in an index fund tied to the S&P. And historically, that's earned a return of 8%. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So I've produced this very lovely, fancy graph here. And so you're starting with 10,000, and this is a one-time investment of money. You're not putting more money every year. So put it once, you let it ride for the next 40 years until you plan to retire at 65. What does it look like? Well, if you take that 8% average return of the S&P, again, it's going to be up and down different years, but over the long term, 8% is the average. You're going to end up with $245,000 when you're 65. That sounds like a lot of money. It's certainly a big multiple from an initial $10,000 investment. However, inflation plays a much bigger role than you might think. If we factor an average inflation rate of 2%, which is what the government roughly targets, a $5 loaf of bread today is going to cost $11 when you're 65. And so when you really adjust your net outcome to today's dollars, you're actually going to end up with $110,000, significantly less than $245,000. Certainly still a great return on one-time $10,000 investment, but still it's a big difference. And I think that's something really important to remember, is that when you're factoring that long-term financial trajectory, you have to be factoring things in today's dollars so that you're not thinking that in 2060 that a loaf of bread is going to still cost $5. That's pretty expensive bread, by the way. I think you can get a coupon and maybe save a couple bucks there. But anyhow, so that's one important concept. The second concept that you'll see clearly is that this is a curve. Those of you who went through calculus, you know that the rate of return on in terms of dollars per year is higher over here because the slope is higher. And so the later you start, the less time you're going to have on the tail end when you have that juicy curve going up. So for instance, if you start when you're 45, you only have 20 years of growth, and you're going to end up with even like something like less than a third of what you'd get if you started when you're in 20s. So the key concept here is that when you invest, in some ways can be more powerful than how much you invest. The earlier is always better, and I think a lot of you know this. Just want to show it to you in real graph terms, and again, I'll sort of explain how this impacted me personally in some of my decisions. Again, if you want to contact me, ask any questions, or have any comments, I can be contacted at the Rope Guy here, ropeguy@theropeguy.com. Would love to hear from you, and thanks for watching.